The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. What do we have going on out here today? We're hanging out at the lows. And the longer we're hanging out at those lows, the riskier this market gets. Earlier in the den, I thought we'd have a big swing before the end of the day. I suspect that we're either going to have a big swing lower by the close today or overnight in the futures. And probably overnight in the futures sounds a little bit more likely. But what you don't want to do in lows is hang around the lows. And generally, we've had, 2, 3, 4 attempts here in the SPYs at about 48.5. We've rallied. We got above the level that should have held. It didn't. So what am I thinking? Well, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves into some numbers in the morning, although I don't know why anybody would think that those are going to actually turn anything. But there's a few things that can happen. At highs, you go to highs and you have lots of volume, and it goes sideways and you eventually bust out. At highs with low volume, you go to those highs and eventually bust out. What you don't like to happen at lows is have light volume at lows and not able to rally off those bottoms. That's telling you something else is going on. And whether or not we dip before the close or we dip in the futures overnight, I suspect that 4,000 is a target. And I don't know if it's on those numbers pre-market, but why I'm fairly bullish into expiration next week, we could make a fairly big detour here. And I'm not projecting it. I am all cash at the moment. But it's not something that I want to make a bet on. Again, there's a difference between gambling and prudent speculation. And right now, we could close at 4150 on the S&P cash or 4,000. And equally, neither one of them would be really a surprise. We are right on the edge. And the more that I see this market with light volume not rallying, generally you just get down there and you test it and it's over. Now, maybe it's the numbers tomorrow morning will set some kind of low. But I think that someone thinks that there is a kind of an air pocket out here that we're going to have maybe briefly, maybe more than a couple of days. But I am not sanguine on going long into the close today or tomorrow. And again, all cash. I'm not short. I'm not long. It looks to me like there will be at least some kind of surprise. I don't know if that's in the numbers or in news or something else. But you know what? There may be something out there that I haven't thought about or looked at in the news. But I don't see a lot going on out here that says we should get all jiggy with it. In my newsletter this morning, I had a chart, got a lot of emails about it today. I wanted to bring it up with Tom talking about doing his webinar tomorrow. I did want to get into the confluence levels, and we've done it from time to time. In fact, when the market was several months ago, still rather higher, we talked about just how far these stocks could come back with confluence levels. There aren't a lot now. There's enough, and there should be a lot if you are going to attend Tom's webinar tomorrow. But what I wanted to show you was I haven't put one of these in my newsletters in probably, I don't know, a month, because there just hasn't been anything that really interested me. But this one was the one that was just setting up pre-market, and I put it in the newsletter. But just how perfect does some of this stuff get? I'm not cherry picking this, because I did send it out before we saw any kind of a reversal, and I wasn't able to say buy it at 100 before the market opened, because I wasn't exactly sure where it was coming in. I did want to get it, but this is about as good as it gets. Confluence is two different Fibonacci levels when they come together, the 618 of one and the 382 of the other. And if they are very close, as in this example, this is probably the textbook example. You pull right back to it, fairly close to the open, get to it, and you just reverse right out of it. And that happens more than a lot of people would think. Did I think we were going to get the entire reversal today? The answer is no. I thought maybe over the next couple of days, but I thought we'd probably have a fairly good buy-in for this morning. But man, you had to be, there's the quick and the dead. And on this one, you had to be Johnny on the spot, and looking down the barrel of a gun, you had to pull your trigger at the same time. But once you watch these and do them enough, you will see. I love this one for a couple of reasons. One, as I said, you really want very thin levels between the 382 and the 618. In this case, it was a couple bucks. But what was that? A couple bucks. But it also had a double gap. And so a lot of times you just want to do one of these, but you're going to find out that these gaps and even double gaps come at the exact same level that you're going to get in the confluence. So why I don't put many individual ETFs or stocks charts in my newsletter. This was the one that I had on there today because it was the poster child for what you're looking for in Confluence going back. It is a high over time, and when I'm talking about over time, I'm not talking about minutes and seconds. I'm talking about days and weeks. And in this case, you actually started the low, what they call the A1 point, if you go for the Joe DiNapoli terminology out here. That was on December 30th at $23.68. You get your second point coming back in on May 10th. And that was at 72.51. You have your what they call the focus number, which is the number that both Fibonacci retracements come off of. And where these things hit very closely, you will generally find, I'm going to say 80% of the time, extremely good support, if not a wildly good buy point in this. Anyway, if you go into this, I think you'll probably be talking about it a great deal. But this and a bunch of other ones we worked on, and I think there's a lot to learn there. We'll be back in a minute.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we return, yesterday we talked about Roku. I gave my opinion on why I thought the chances was a zero of this deal actually going through. I thought maybe you might have a few more days. But it's basically what I said yesterday. I'm looking at a headline here at 10 a.m. Antitrust concerns are the biggest reason it won't. So anyway, I don't think there's a whole lot out here that changes any of that. It seems to me that a lot of Roku employees from the articles I read earlier are all taking a look at this and going, maybe if we could pop this up, we could get out of some of our options and still make some money. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think maybe wishful thinking from the inside guys. You had a lot of volume. You moved up. There were a lot of short sellers, but that's about it. There isn't a whole lot going on. Again, as the first segment out here, I'm not willing to put a lot at risk. There is something going on here. I think we're going to have an excursion out of the trading area, and it may just last a couple hours. Maybe it in the futures tonight. Maybe it's before the close today. But there's something going on out here that isn't exactly clear. There's a man with sorry. I was just repeating the lines from the song. Anyway, let's do a little history and we'll go on to charts.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is nothing but history repeating. On this day in 1993, the motion picture Jurassic Park premieres in Washington, D.C., the highest grossing film in the history at that time. The contributions of Jurassic Park to this field of special effects is perhaps as important as the original Star Wars movie. 16 years prior, during the production of the movie, the decision was made to incorporate the use of computer-generated imagery, CGI for short, in a large scale. Of course, the previous summer, 1992, I was doing a little work with SGI. We were talking about building a digital disc recorder for their system. And at that point, the CEO of the company, I happened to bump into him. I bought a SGI machine, an Indigo, if you know what that is. It's not an Indigo girl. It was a kind of the first foray into the PC business. But I happened to talk to the CEO because we were in there and I was showing him the stuff that we actually had and were doing for some other platforms on that. And I actually went out there to see what they were doing on animation and hang out for about 6 weeks across the summer. I'll always remember it because it was a great time. I rented a houseboat down off Pier 39, if you've ever been to San Francisco. I always thought it was nice. The walruses and seals going on was not my favorite part of that. But anyway, it was mostly a daytime thing. I'd get up there around the campus at about 9 a.m. and be done at 4 o'clock and be back at the docks at about 4:30. But I spent that summer helping a few of their interns and stuff in 1992, putting memory in what looked like a giant refrigerator so that they could do the last of the or some of the more intricate animations back then. Didn't really have a lot to do with it other than that. And the people at SGI kind of knew what we were doing. The guy's name, Jim Clark. I happened to be introduced because he was going to go off and create a company in the internet world with somebody that I knew in my computer club. But certainly that was so I got a hand up, and they knew what we were doing already because it had been, at least on the low end of animation stuff, a big deal. But I didn't have really much to do with it other than help put together a giant refrigerator-sized thing of memory. And of course, now you have that on a USB drive in your pocket, and the thing's the size of your fingernail on your pinky. But back then, that was big doings. But anyway, now on this day in 1993, Jurassic Park premieres. And of course, now we get the 4th or 5th edition of a Jurassic Park movie. And there's wagers on just how bad it is and whether or not it's going to win a Razzie. As they say, it is one of the worst movies of this year. But I haven't seen it yet. But certainly what they're saying is it's not that good. And, you know, it's tough to make a movie after movie after movie and have anything original or interesting. I'm just glad that I don't have to work on the Fast and the Furious, son of Fast and Furious, cousin of Fast and Furious, number 17. Because I think I'd have to kill myself if that was it. But it's bad enough we're on to Jurassic Park 5, which apparently everybody's calling it the cash box, because apparently all the actors just jumped in because of the big money, even though it has a incredibly horrible script, I am told. 877-927-6648. As I said a little earlier, I was worried about it hanging out here at the lows. We're down at about 408 on the S&P cash now. 409 really should have held, so there's something going on, even though it's on light volume. Other questions of the day. Someone brought up this earlier in the day, and there isn't a lot of volume. What is out here in the market so far today was a huge amount of shorting, and it was very small lots, 100, 200 kind of things. It didn't look like the big guys were shorting with any kind of frequencies. But someone asked me how I knew that everybody was shorting, and I do want to get this. Let me see if I can get yet another thing. Again, you can email me at path@tfnn.com, but I wanted to go to Amazon because I probably don't bring this up enough, but someone asked me about how you can tell people are shorting and why there isn't a good school for it anymore. There is a book, and it's probably the best book on tape reading. It's by Wyckoff. I bring him up from time to time. But everybody seemed to go under pseudonyms back then, including Jesse Livermore. Richard DeMille Wyckoff went by Rollo Tape. This is a 1910 book in how to read tape. And really not much has ever changed since then. It's a $10 paperback if you want it, but it's called Studies in Tape Reading. That's a great book. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien has just announced a live Timing the Trade webinar Friday, June 10th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Join Tom O'Brien for 5 hours of live education as he teaches you his trading methodology right from his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. In this live webinar, Tom O'Brien will be teaching you his entire trading system, including quality volume, ABC structures, Fibonacci confluence zones, cause and effect, swing points, and more. We will be limiting this class to 40 attendees, so please do not delay and reserve your seat today for this special live event with Tom O'Brien. All attendees will also receive a physical copy of his book, The Art of Timing the Trade, an $88 value, mailed to you, along with a free month of his daily newsletter, Market Insights, a $169 value. For all the details and to reserve your seat today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And, yeah, we're just kind of floating around down here. But again, I do not like markets that just hang out at lows and fail to rally, even though they have light volume. It generally is not a good sign. I'd say 3/4 of the time, the correct thing is to exit stage left and wait for a better signal, which is what I have done. Anyway, other things going on out here. We got some stocks with a whole lot lower, but you can't do that. Anyway, we've got some additional questions and we'll get to those here. Okay, and the first one's going to be on Tesla. TSLA. We were talking in the den. Someone brought it up, but the DeLorean company's back. They've got a pretty good looking EV, Ford F-150s. My guess is that, Tesla was pretty good as a monopoly. The cars are not that great. I do have to say that after helping my friend put together a Franken Tesla the end of last summer, out of one that had gone underwater and another one that had caught on fire, we made one good Tesla out of the thing. I do think that at least their electric engines and their electronic control parts, pretty good. I gave them a real low level of approval on just how the car was put together. There was missing screws. In the engine bay, electric bay, there were missing hangers. There's a lot of stuff out here that just seemed to be at least on the ones that we looked at, and it wasn't because they were wrecked. They came from the factory. The pan that covered the bottom was missing screws. I mean, when we pulled these things all basically down to bare metal and cleaned the things back up, they weren't too bad. We took apart the battery compartment and took all the best batteries out of both of them and made one final battery pack that was still fairly good. But it took us about 4 weekends to go and put together all the stuff. Was that last August or something? But certainly, I have to say that when we took the electric motor apart, I was incredibly impressed with that part of it. The part that they still don't have, I think, down as well is making and quality control on the rest of it, at least from what I could tell. But, other companies are going to have the same problems. General Motors had their cars catch on fire, just like Tesla did. There's going to be a certain amount of these things that burn people's houses down with them in them for EVs. And, if you're going to leave the car outside, fine. I wouldn't leave it in an inside garage if I were you, but that's just me. Anyway, you're up a little bit, but there's not much volume. I continue to think over time this thing's going to come back down and retest that 580 level that we look at. And the question is if things don't get worse overall. But yeah, what is it? Low. Actually, it wasn't 580. It's 539.49. That's the March 5th, 2001 low. I think that's where we're targeting. We've made a little bit of what could be an ABC, I think, that's going to thrust back down and test that 539 level. But you've got decent volume. You've come back into the trading range. Energy was a little bit lower. But I'm thinking this may, in the summertime, we may just see something that doesn't happen a whole lot of times, and that is very low volume pullbacks in the market. I thought for a while that we would see this hold up maybe through July the 4th, but it is problematic. Okay, another question out here. Are you thinking UNG will continue to rally from here? Let's take a quick look. You had a little bit of a pullback. I certainly, let's go back here and see if we can get, it's kind of the same thing. It's not as plain in the UNG as it was in Boyle. As I said, Boyle was very, very specific as to what was happening in it. I'm not exactly sure what the differences are other than that chart looked much better. You got basically the same thing in the UNG. You just have a lot more gaps in this. Maybe that's problematic. You didn't have any confluence levels because it kind of went straight up. But certainly you kind of know where the bottom is. We've been talking that I would have liked this thing to come back to about $26, maybe 25. Maybe you still get that. You got about 27 off the highs here. So everybody decided to pull back in it. I think you could spend the rest of the summer seeing these things consolidate back into lower prices. But I think if we got to August and the price is around 25 and holds fairly well, that probably is the next big move and long-term ABC higher in these. Okay. Okay, what else do we have? Got some more emails out here. Okay. Jim says it doesn't sound like you're too happy with what's on all the streaming services. Is there anything you did like? It's been around for a little while, but one of the I thought was an absolute treat was a show called Louder Milk, and that's on Amazon Prime. But I thought that was, but you know what? I'm so burnt out on special effects and that stuff that when something doesn't explode or blow up, and it's just almost like a play, it seems almost like a relief to me anymore. But don't see a lot in here in Netflix for you, other than you are getting down on fairly light volume and going sideways. That's how you make some long-term bottoms. But Louder Milk, yeah, I thought it was a great show. But again, I'm avoiding most everything with special effects other than the Orville, which the second edition came out, second thing, and that's now free of Fox. And I think Seth is doing a miraculous job. It's the best thing in that whole genre of Star Wars and Star Trek and everything else. But I thought it was done much better than the rest of the stuff, which is just highly derivative. The Orville seems to go back to the roots that made Star Trek worth watching, and it wasn't special effects in the 60s. It was good writing. I still like that. 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com as we take a look at here and see what else is going on. Okay, we're 407 and a half on the spies. We'll take a look at Micron when we come back with Rick.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we return, we're starting to nibble on the downside of our trading range. Again, as I said earlier, the volume wasn't all that exciting. We're here at 2:42 in the afternoon with about 7.4 million shares. So there isn't a lot for a huge volume. But that's, you do get light volume retracements in the market. And I think a lot of people think that something's going to happen. Probably the numbers that everybody's been talking about are going to surprise or something. I would not be surprised to see some kind of giant dip in the markets. We saw the move that came along with Boyle. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw something like that in the general market or even some of the other things out here. But that's it. Anyway, a question was about Micron. So we'll take a look at that. As we bought it off the lows and sold it in the Tech Insider, right? And we sold it into the push. You're coming back down. It's very light volume, about half the volume yesterday. But when you get down here, you're probably going to find some kind of retest of this candle from, to April 27th. And as Mr. Miyagi said, the Karate Kid, more movie references for you all. Best way to avoid fight, not be there. I'd rather be looking at trying to buy Micron again down here at 65.86 on that test if we have lighter volume. But anyway, 17 million shares. You only have 7.6 million shares today. But again, I'd love to see something, and maybe we're going to see more of this. But maybe Boyle is kind of the prototype where we're going to see these washouts happen very quickly and then recover very quickly just the same. I would rather, I don't see any reason to be short these things with the light volume. But at the same time, I don't see any reason to go into this overnight and be long. I'm thinking about going to sleep fairly early tonight and maybe getting up and checking the futures overnight and seeing if there isn't any exciting stuff going on there. To another question. Okay. XLE today. Volume of the X looks very bullish. Thoughts? Well, the problem with this is at least you don't have a lot in the volume, but you do have a kind of abandoned baby up here at the top for the XLE, and it may just be an overall thing. Again, if we start seeing a lot of selling in the market, the thing that happens is generally they sell what they shouldn't. Instead of the losers, they sell the winners. So just be aware of that. You're not probably talking about huge losses, but it's not uncommon in inflationary periods for people to sell gold when that's the thing they probably should be buying. It's not beyond the scope that people sitting on some fairly large moves in energy will sell them, even if crude continues to move higher, which I think it will. So don't be surprised if we have some kind of air pocket over the next 24 hours that they sell the good stuff. And as other people say, they throw the good babies out with the bathwater as well as the bad babies out with the bathwater. And a lot of times you sell what you can. As I say, you sell when you can. Wall Street, though, has a lot of problems, and when it needs money, it sells what it can, not when it can. And that is stuff that they can sell without destroying the price of the stock too much. And that's generally the leaders and the strongest stocks, and that gives you the opportunity to buy back at a lower level. So you should welcome it on the pullbacks, unless you're just getting greedy and put your snout down in there. Remember, there's a reason for the old chestnuts around trading, and that is the one of them is bulls make money and bears make money and pigs get slaughtered. And 200 years that's been around, and it's still well worth understanding that every dog has its day, every movement has a high. And as Benoit Mandelbrot said, mountains are not straight up and down. Lightning is not, or lightning not straight up and down. Clouds are not circles. And he's got a bunch of stuff that says things are not as smooth. What is it? Bark is not smooth on a tree. You know, a lot of people, you look at stuff from a distance and you think, that's straight up and down. But the reality is it's much more like the lightning bolt signals that we see than literally straight up and down. 877-927-6648. You still have time to get in now or ask your questions. Question on Apple. Do I see anything change from WWDC? And the answer is no. There isn't a whole lot going on here that really changes much. As we said 2 days ago, when the announcements came out, yes, they have a very nice chip. It's incredibly expensive. Now, Apple kind of likes having things that they can say that no one else has. Instead of calling a display what it is, they'll call it the Retina display. Like, we're the only people that have this. Well, of course, other people have it. But Apple people don't want to spend a lot of time learning about stuff and shopping hard. They just want to buy something that's good. And Apple, does do a fairly good job of them of taking care of their customers who don't want to get their hands and elbows greasy. I'm a guy that likes to tear apart cars and motorcycles and planes, literally anything. If you can take it apart, I like taking stuff apart and putting it back together and having it work well. A sense of accomplishment. But a lot of people, they literally don't want to know. And unfortunately, many times they pay out the nose for it. And that's what Apple's there for. You are down on lighter volume. You wanted this retest to 44.10 on lighter volume over the next day or so. I just don't see that much in the way of Apple more higher or lower. I don't think there's a reason to be short the thing or long it either. In fact, there's a lot of things in the market that look just like that. As we go to the breakout here, as I said, the SPY trading range, we're kind of on the very bottom side of it. Maybe we get something before the end of the day. Maybe we don't. But I'd still be worried overnight. I think probably the prudent thing is to stand back until we get numbers in the morning and take another look at it. But, we're at the very bottom of this. It's a lot of volume, but you don't like it hanging at the lows. It should have bounced by now. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we come back, the market continues to have what I've heard termed a paper cut. And that is that you just get one of these little things where it just drip, drip, drip. And it really doesn't, it's not a whole lot, but you just never really, it just can go on for a while. And that is just another 10 cents down and 5 cents higher and 10 cents down. Of course, as I said, I don't dislike going to lows and not seeing some kind of recovery before the end of the day. I do see a lot of people going short, so I think we could have some kind of giant reversal. And I'd rather be looking at that maybe happening tomorrow than before today. And it's just because on light volume, you should instantly turn around. You should have a V bottom, and we're not. We've got this paper cut that's painful, and it's not, you're not losing a quart of blood a minute, but you're losing enough. And these things, the problem is, especially in the summertime, is that you can see these things just go down a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and you get frog boiled by the time that they're over. So like I said, I suspect what we're going to get is a rip the Band-Aid moment over, and maybe it happens overnight or maybe it happens tomorrow morning. You don't have a lot of volume. You have a lot of short sellers. And, you know what? I don't see that changing before the end of the day. So there's always tomorrow and always another trade. Again, check out Tom O'Brien's webinar tomorrow. If you missed the very beginning of the show, check out at least one of the things he'll be talking about is confluence zones. Maybe he'll be talking about those in the next hour. But we shall persevere. Watch out. 4,000 on the S&P is open before we open tomorrow morning. So just know that you can get some giant moves in the market. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We will return.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.